And on that thought, I guess, is just changes in AI coming into the artistic sphere.
Yeah.
And like, how do you feel about that? Because it's like now anybody can be an artist, a creative. Does that worry you for, I guess, content creation?
Yes and no. I think you need to be aware of what's happening in front of you and be educated on it with AI. It's not just in my world; it's in every world. It's like they're automating processes that used to take hours and hours and hours and hours. And now it's
like editing.
Like editing. I mean, yeah, like editing, of course. I mean, it's so you either have to look at that as like, okay, that's now a tool I can offer. It's now a service I can offer to my clients, where I can offer speed and efficiency. Because my client will never know how to even look at AI and how to approach it. So even though it's accessible to them and could potentially take my job away, I can now offer that to my clients, and now I just have more features to offer.
Right.
So you have to look at it like that, because if you don't, it used to edit a podcast like this, it used to take, if I handed it off to an editor, they have to sit there for 3 hours and edit. Let's call it $100 an hour to edit that, $300 to do it. Now it's like $10 a year or $300 for a year total. That's it. One-time payment.
Yeah.
And now you have a plugin that goes in, and as long as your camera and your audio or have their own lines, it'll know when to cut based on who's talking.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Seen and Heard. Today I'm here with producer, videographer, and entrepreneur, Ben Shani, who is one of my dear, dear friends.
You nailed that. Nailed it. That feels good. That feels right.
It's who you are.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but you're so much more, too.
Oh, stop it.
Oh. So Ben and I have worked on a number of projects together, like almost all of my music videos.
Yeah.
And I love you for that forever.
It's been an honor.
I mean, they're incredible. So if you haven't seen them, go check them out. Shameless plug.
Check them out.
But we're really here to talk about you and kind of want to know just briefly like your journey, like you grew up in California, and how did you become a videographer?
Yeah, I mean, I always loved movies growing up. I always loved technology. My dad was in communications in the Army, and so when he came out and, fast forward to having a family and all that, he loved technology as well. So we always had like really cool tech in the house and new cameras and all these things, and we always had like point and shoot cameras in the house, and so I'd always mess with them and I would steal them and I would just use them, and I loved them. And just over the course of time through shooting stuff, I found a great interest in that. And a friend of mine, Ethan Saluki, you know Ethan.
Oh, I remember Ethan, yeah.
Ethan Saluki. He joined a photography class in high school, and I joined too because I wanted to hang out with him. So we did that. And the teacher didn't teach anything. He was just one of those guys. I think he was, like, in hindsight as an adult, I think he was going through something like a divorce or whatever. So he hid on his computer in the back of the room every day, every time. But we had the ability to check out cameras for free and print out photos of our photography for free on like commercial printers. I'm like, oh my God. So him and I would go shoot stuff, and I would always print things out, and I just fell in love with it. And then one year my dad saw the interest I had, and I wanted to buy a camera. I couldn't afford it. And so he bought a camera, a Nikon D300, for his business. And he said, he's like, this is not for you. Like, this is for my business. Don't mess with that. And I found out in hindsight, he bought it for me to like learn and get better at it. And when I figured that out, I was so moved by that, that he did that, because I totally believed him that it was his. But like, he couldn't care less about photography. He wasn't like, I should have realized, but I didn't.
That's amazing.
Right. So I started using it, and family and friends would hire me to shoot their dinner parties, and I kept getting referred for it. And then one year I bought my own camera, but I always had interest in video. So I bought a camera. It's called the Canon 5D Mark II. For those of you that know cameras, you know that camera. When it came out, it was like game changer. So I bought that camera, and it shot video. So what I would do is I'd get hired for photography, and then I would secretly shoot video without them knowing.
Oh my gosh.
And when the job was done, I would then send them their link and say, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure shooting with you. Also, here's a link to a video I got of your event. If you enjoyed it, please refer me. Hope to see you again soon, Ben.
When you go above and beyond like that, people...
Under promise, over deliver is the whole thing.
Yes.
I did that hustle 4 or 5 times, and that like just birthed the whole video business, and that was it. So yeah, you're right. Under promise, over deliver is the name of the game. Wow. Always.
And you and I met through Le Faire magazine, where we were both doing a lot of production on shoots. And I mean, that's really where I learned production and got people together for shoots like that. Yeah. And you always make it such a great time on set. And
so do
everybody
you.
loves being around you on set.
You're so sweet. You're the same way, though. That's why we all get along so well. We could travel well together. We could eat well, drink well, enjoy, have fun, know when it's time to put the cameras down and enjoy ourselves, and then when to get to work. And so we definitely had a good camaraderie in that. We still do. We always do.
100%.
So it takes two to tango. But thank you for those kind words. I appreciate you.
So I guess what are some milestones for you, like in your career so far, that you look back and you're like, oh, wow, I can't believe I worked with this brand, or I can't believe, I shot this person, or what do you look back on and you're like really proud of so far?
Yeah, I'm gonna totally butcher this and forget things. I'm horrible in the moment like that, and I should have known. Whatever. Well, one of the big ones, not that it's notable for people in general in the grand scheme of things commercially, but LaFair was big for me. LaFair magazine for me was big because it wasn't so much of like a, huge money play, but it was a content play. And so I got so much content to build my business, and I got referred and I got reached out to a ton from just that kind of content. So that, shout out to Tracy Kahn for the trust. She trusted me big time to run that, and we had a great time. We became great friends, all of us. But like that was huge for me to build my business and have content to offer, because without that, I don't even know when it would have started, how it would have started, how it would have moved, progressed, lack thereof. I don't know, but that was a big one. But then from that point, it was working with just artists that I always loved growing up. Like I was on tour with Bone Thugs and Harmony for a while.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Do you know that I love them?
Oh, I love them.
Well,
yeah.
Cleveland.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was on tour with them for a while, and we had such a fun time. And they are the most irresponsible, hilarious, talented guys you've ever met. And they can't show up to a single rehearsal on time or at all. But when you get on stage and the crowd sees them coming, and you hear bone, bum, bum, bone, bone, bum, 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 and the whole, the crowd would go nuts.
Oh,
and
I'm sure.
I got chills every single time that happened, and I just fell in love with it.
When did you do that?
I think I was like 23, 24, 25, something in that space. Wow. Time's flown by, I forget, but that was in that pocket. So that was a fun one. 311 was a lot of fun. We shot with them for a while. Wow. So we were the only crew ever allowed on their tour bus. Wow. We had friends that worked with them, and they invited us in, and we got some just incredible content. And I love shooting music more than most things. That's why I always love working with you, because you're so creative and emotive and talented, and so it's a joy to shoot it, because our rhythms match up when we're shooting. And so I had that with them too. Like when they'd go bananas and go ape shit, and their hair is flying over the place, and they're rocking out, and their crowds are going crazy, I felt euphoric.
Well, I love being compared to 311. So
totally.
That's great.
Totally.
Fine with that.
That was a fun one, and then I think, I haven't put a lot of time into like getting my numbers high on social and all that. I just love doing what I'm doing, and business has gone well, so I focus more on that than like my social presence. But one thing that did very well in my world was I shot with Pentatonix. You know that group?
No.
They're a Grammy-winning vocal a cappella group.
Oh, neat.
And they're really cool, and we did a video for them, and within like 2 weeks, it got 18 million views.
Oh my gosh.
And that was one of the most fun things ever, because it was. I'm going to go on a tangent for a second. Sorry. It was. There was no beat.
Oh, right.
Their voices, and there's 5 of them. Their voices were the rhythm, and so when I edited it, I had to edit it to the rhythm of their voice, and we shot each person on a black background. Each person did 3 or 4 takes.
I've seen this video.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. And then we cut it together, and I cut it to the rhythm of their voice, so you'd hear who you should hear when you hear them, and you should see it when you should see them. And so the way it all cut together was just like,
we have to put a link for that.
Oh my God. Yeah, we'll link it. It's a really, I'm proud of that one. I love that video. Yeah. Aside from that, I'm totally blanking on stuff, because I've done some pretty cool things,
that's
but
a lot.
I'm drawing a blank.
That is incredible.
Thank you.
What about like your influences in your work? Like, are there photographers, videographers, directors, people that you really admire, who you look up to and who have influenced you?
Yeah, I mean, I love Christopher Nolan. I love Tony Scott, who did a lot of the when I was growing up. Like, I was a big fan of Tom Cruise growing up, so he did a lot of my favorite movies. Like Days of Thunder is one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen shot ever. He plays a NASCAR driver, and then watching Top Gun, and as a kid growing up, he was obsessed with sunsets and color, and flares and rhythm and pacing and energy in the shot, and I fell in love with him as a director, and I just loved that. So, those are and I'm always drawing blanks on names. I'm horrible like that. But as I moved more into what I do for a living, I kind of went away from the cinematic realm and started looking more at like YouTube videographers and guys who are doing what I like. Yeah. And so my favorite guy.
And why did that happen? Sorry. Why did you get more drawn to like maybe short form thing as opposed to like being a film guy?
I got a little scared by the movie industry. I saw friends of mine and colleagues that would go into the film industry, and for lack of a better term, and no offense to anyone at home that's in the film industry, I highly respect it. I've produced feature films, and I love that space, but like it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
It's nerve-wracking, and there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, and if it's backed by a studio, they kind of have you by the balls. And
Right.
if there's a strike, you're out of work. And like, I just couldn't deal with that world. I wanted to work for myself and not be owned by anybody. And not saying you are, but that was just my perspective on it. So I started being really inspired by the new tech coming out, the new editing softwares, the new cameras, the new lenses, the access to technology and cameras and music and what you could create. It's always been there, but at the level that you could do it now, I was so inspired by it. So one of my favorite guys to watch was Peter McKinnon, who's a big, I think he's at 12 million or whatever on YouTube, and he's just grown. I've loved watching his trajectory and how he teaches and inspires and educates, and how he makes his content and how he edits. And I was just always inspired by that. So my shift went into that space. It was Peter McKinnon. It was Chris Howe. It was Daniel Schiffer. It was a lot of these guys that were just so inspiring what they were doing from their home. From their home and being able to provide for their families and also really enjoy their craft. So that's where that kind of came from.
I have a theory.
You have a theory?
Let me run this by you.
I love a good theory.
I really think, so we've seen this transition from, DVDs and all that stuff to these streaming platforms and everything. And at the same time, I really feel like YouTube and Meta and these platforms, especially YouTube, they're doing it right, are having like this short content now. But I really feel like if these streaming platforms like Hulu and Peacock and stuff don't really get onto the social train, they're going to have problems, because I think people want to watch content socially. I think we're being trained to do that now. So if you stream a show, like you want to stream it with your friends or something, maybe leave a comment on the show, something like that. I really feel like it's going to be like the social platforms that take over as the streaming companies eventually, unless these streaming companies go more social. What do you think?
Interesting perspective, actually. I think that I see it as two different worlds.
Okay.
You can be on your phone all day scrolling and doom scrolling on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok and just binging on short form content. And then like when you're having dinner and watching a movie, or watching your favorite show, it's a different vibe. So it might go that way, and that might be where it has to go. But for right now, I see it as two different spaces completely. There's high-end produced content, the movies and TV shows we all fall in love with, we want to watch and share and talk about, like with our friends and family and stuff, and just binge on. Like, and then there's just on your phone. It's a different experience when you're laying on the couch watching your favorite show, or like on your phone or iPad, like just scrolling forever. It's a different thing.
Yeah.
And I think watching TV is almost an escape from the doom scrolling.
That's a good point.
It really, and honestly, and I noticed too, if I'm watching a show that's like not getting my attention, I'll go to my phone.
Yeah.
And I'm messing around it's like, what am I doing? Like, we're addicted to the screens.
Oh, we are.
And so it's a battle of the screens.
Right. I guess what got me thinking about it is my brother's in this like short series right now.
Oh,
that's
cool.
like being produced. It's like being produced like it's a show,
Okay.
right? But it's short form show, and it's a series, and there's episodes, but it's only going to air on Meta.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It's strange.
Well,
I just see that there's starting to be an overlap is all I'm
well,
saying.
there are TV shows on different platforms. Like X is even doing stuff.
Right.
Formerly Twitter. It's weird to say X.
I know.
They're even doing their own TV shows, hosting news channels and all this stuff. So it's happening. I mean, even YouTube tried it with YouTube Red.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a space too. But to go get your favorite, like, I don't know. I see it's two different worlds.
Okay. I hope you're right. I think it's nice to have that break from
Right?
the content. I just worry that eventually everything's going to overlap with this, and it's all going to be shorter, and it's all going to be social.
It could. It totally could.
Just wanted your perspective.
Yeah. No, it's a really cool thought. I mean, there's no reason to say it won't. I mean, it totally could.
And on that thought, I guess, is just changes in AI coming into the artistic sphere.
Yeah.
And like, how do you feel about that? Because it's like now anybody can be an artist, a creative. Does that worry you for, I guess, content creation?
Yes and no. I think you need to be aware of what's happening in front of you and be educated on it with AI. It's not just in my world; it's in every world. It's like they're automating processes that used to take hours and hours and hours and hours. And now it's
like editing.
Like editing. I mean, yeah, like editing, of course. I mean, it's so you either have to look at that as like, okay, that's now a tool I can offer. It's now a service I can offer to my clients,
right,
where I can offer speed and efficiency. Because my client will never know how to even look at AI and how to approach it. So even though it's accessible to them and could potentially take my job away, I can now offer that to my clients, and now I just have more features to offer.
Right.
So you have to look at it like that, because if you don't, yeah, I mean, it used to edit a podcast like this, it used to take, if I handed it off to an editor, they have to sit there for 3 hours and edit. Let's call it $100 an hour to edit that, $300 to do it. Now it's like $10 a year or $300 for a year total. That's it. One-time payment.
Yeah.
And now you have a plugin that goes in, and as long as your camera and your audio or have their own lines, it'll know when to cut based on who's talking.
Wow.
And do it for you. I mean, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's incredible. There's some spaces I see that are going to be totally wiped out. Like some guys make a lot of money from doing stock photography and stock video. Mm-hmm. That's gone.
Right.
That is over.
Yeah.
We're about, I'd say 70% there as far as like the quality of it. I think in a year or two, once Unreal Engine merges its back end technologies into AI and you get that like indistinguishable quality, it's gonna be pretty scary.
Oh my gosh.
I've seen things now where they say, I want a drone shot of the San Francisco Bridge with a boat going underneath it and no cars on the highway with a sunset. And it looks, and you cannot tell. I can tell some pixel peeping, which is called like when you really stare at the pixels of each little part of the screen, you can see where things look a little off.
Pixel peeping is a new word for me. This is so cool phrase, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like when you really stare at it, you can see what's going on. But yeah, it's the world of AI is something that everyone should be taking really seriously. Mm-hmm. Not to be scared by it, but just educate yourself on what it is and lean into it and see how it can benefit you. It can save you time, make you more efficient. Don't be scared of it. Like we were all scared of Bitcoin, didn't know what to do with it. That blew right past us. Some people became billionaires and millionaires, and some just didn't know what to do and lost their chance, including me.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
Lean in and learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're also an entrepreneur.
Yes.
And I guess I'm interested in what projects you're working on in that space.
Mm-hmm. Well, one is right here. I'm wearing shameless plug again. Original Sunshine. I'm an investor in a company called Original Sunshine. It's a gluten-free flour company. And it's been going incredibly well. I mean, we didn't know what was going to happen with it, but it ended up just really doing well. We're in like all the top bagel shops across the country. We just signed with Goop Kitchen, which is Gwyneth Paltrow's company.
My gosh.
We're the private label for Erewhon for gluten-free bagels.
I was just going to ask, is Erewhon involved? I hope they are.
Yeah, I went 2 days ago. I went there for lunch, and I went to the freezer, and they're sitting right there. So yeah, incredible. we're still doing that, and it's been incredible to see how it's grown and where it's going and what it's doing. And we're the leading gluten-free option for just about every bagel shop in the country. So
if somebody wanted to invest in a company like you did, like how much capital do they really need? It depends on
what round you're in. If you're in the family and friends round, it could be as small as like $5,000.
Is this a family and friends round? Was that what happened?
My investment was family and friends. Yeah,
it
was one of my buddies, Ethan Saluki, was the lead designer for the company. He's incredibly talented. If he's hearing this, shout out to you, man. He did everything for us. He created our logo. He did all of our design work. He did all of the social media is run by him. He's just amazing. And so him and I worked together. I was helping him do content, and they said, "Hey, man, we see where this is going to be going, and if you want to get in, now's the time. We have like 2 spots left in the family friends round, and then we're closing it up till we go to the next round." And so I did, and I didn't go huge on it. I just wanted to get in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just depends what round you're in, and like the family friends round could be $1,000 to $10,000. It just depends what you want to do.
Right.
It's family and friends. You just give what you can give.
That's so cool.
Then there's minimums after that. Sometimes, not always. It just depends what you want to do. But yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
So do you think? Well, now you're involved in the company, right? To some
degree. It's legit. So we have departments that run the whole company, and I'm just helping with content creation to help things move forward.
Nice.
So photography, video production.
Now, does that give you more sweat equity, or how does that work?
A little bit, not a ton, a little bit. Part of what I invested had some of that in there, and that's typically what will be done. I'm a light load for sweat equity against like Ethan, who does it like he's in it all day, every day, working on it, and he's incredible at what he's given himself to. So I'm not a majority holder with sweat equity. I'm just happy to be involved.
Nice. And what other projects are you doing?
We just took a pause on it, and I'll explain why. But I was opening up a restaurant.
Right.
Yeah, in Sherman Oaks, and this is something to know if you're going to open a restaurant. Fire and electric permitting. We had to wait 7 months for them to come and see us, and they made us pay rent while we were waiting. So it bled our startup capital.
That's horrible.
And so we were like, "What the hell?" Like it was a ghost kitchen. And so it was a low overhead investment.
Yeah.
And so we were excited about it, and that just bled all startup capital. And then after that, we were trying to hire people, and what we were noticing was the way it's set up, as long as you are sending out applications to get a job and you can show that no one responded to you, you can get free money to live for unemployment. And so that part really screwed us because all the kids in the area, and I got friends that have kids this age. So I asked them, and they're like, yeah, he's on unemployment, and it's kind of a problem because now he's just playing Xbox all day or PlayStation or the VR or going to Starbucks with his friends or.
Oh my gosh, the parents should do something about that.
100%. But this is the new culture. All you do is send out applications. When the company calls you back to come in for an interview, you just ignore it. Oh, see, I didn't get it. And then you get free money. So these kids, so I couldn't find anyone to work with us.
That's wild.
And the ones that did want to work were too far. And there was a language barrier, and it was just harder to kind of explain the business. And so there was just some hurdles with that. But so what we did is we got out, we built the whole place. My partner in the whole thing did majority of the building on it, all of it really. And so, but it's there now. So the person that's in there now leasing it is on a month to month. So in a couple of years, we might come back to it. But we noticed both of our businesses were kind of taken off. So we just sort of, it's like, let's not force this.
Right. Let's
not force it. And that was the best move we could have done. So we're letting that chill for a little bit. But yeah, there's that. And then I'm working with a company called Vanity Planet.
Okay.
And my friend became the CEO of the company. And so she called and said, hey, I don't understand any of the tech stuff on this, the photography, none of that. So she's like, if you want to come on.
What kind of company is it?
Beauty products.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we're going to build like a stock video website. That's part of this. It's a deeper conversation we'll get into later, but she wants help with that. So I'm going to become a owner in the company.
Nice.
And just run the tech side of it. So that's my next path and journey on that. And then a few other things. I'm going to be developing a new tripod soon that has a special feature for those of you that shoot. And this might be kind of a weird tangent just for a second. With tripods, they have you have 3 legs, 6 buttons, because there's 3 on each, on the first layer and second layer. You have to always unlatch them to open it. And my idea is going to be a one-click solution. So you press a button, you can lower it, let go, and it stays there. And so it cuts your time in half.
Oh, very cool.
Which is a very weird thing I just said. Sorry, but that's what I'm doing. So
I love that.
That's the next thing.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so can you give people advice? Like, how can they be like Ben Shani? If you want to be a content creator, producer, videographer, and entrepreneur, what advice would you give people? Don't
drink as much coffee as I am, because I'm talking so fast. Oh my God. So sorry. I love you all. It's just under promise, over deliver.
Yeah.
Show up, under promise, over deliver, and say what you're going to do and actually do the things you say you're going to do. And there's no way you don't have business. I mean, to me, it's just simple. Like, it's just being honest and doing the right thing, and under promise, over deliver. That
and you do
recipe
what
works.
You love.
Do what you love. Oh, that's
you are motivated.
Yeah.
You can tell, because when you talk about all of these things, you love each and every one of them, and you have so many interests.
Yeah.
I feel like that can be overwhelming for some people.
It can be. But you manage it. Well, you have to start with one thing at least.
Yeah.
Once you start with one thing, like, what's that saying? Don't be a jack of all trades, master of none. Like, you can be like decent at like 20 different things, or you can look at 3 things you really enjoy and like lean into those things. Surround yourself with people that enjoy the same things, like you and me. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Like, that feeds both of us.
It does.
And that's a realm that I think is super important, is surround yourself with people that want to be doing what you're doing and are doing it better than you.
Oh, that's really good advice.
Yeah, because all you can do is learn. Yes. What's the other saying? Like, if you're around 4 great, smart people, you'll be the 6th or 5th, and if you're around 4 dumb people, you'll be the 5th. Like, whoever you surround yourself with, you'll be the accumulation of those people. You'll start gaining those things. So look at who surrounds you. Look at if you get home from work and you go hang out with your friends, who are those friends? Who are you hanging out with? What are they doing?
Right.
And it's hard because you have friends from childhood sometimes, and it's hard to let people go. But like, you got to look at who your friends are, and you have to look at where you want to be against what you're doing. It's really kind of that simple.
Yeah. So
I just tried surrounding myself with people that were doing what I wanted to do, and I was willing to work for free when I first started, and just for the opportunity and to get content. I did days for free, days and days, like 12-hour days for free, just to like get the content and go learn and then show what I was doing. And that hustle, you can't be afraid to work.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Where
can people follow you?
Ben Shani Creative on Instagram and YouTube. YouTube I'm not really doing much on, but there's stuff there. But Instagram is where kind of where it's at. It's hard. Instagram's hard.
It's hard.
It's a hard thing. I'm grateful business is great, so like I don't need to go do all that stuff, but like it's hard.
Yeah.
To run all that and like, build the following and like all that stuff. Like it's just a pain in the ass.
It's such a grind.
It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Follow Ben Shani.
Follow
Thank
me.
you for coming and being here with us.
Thanks for having me. This is so cool. Thank you.